Yes, Commissioners, the next 11 items, 18 through 28, are information items. I just need to let you know that item 27 has a slight change. The date has changed from June to August. Otherwise, these items will not be presented unless requested by a Commissioner.
Any requests from the Commission? I thought I had 6 members here. What happened to Joe?
Now, before we move on to the consent calendar, I need at least 8 of you.
Well, and I'm also looking for, I thought I had a 6th member here. Where'd he go?
Joe is on his way.
He was right there.
He may have gone to the bathroom.
You're just not keeping good reins on your commissioners.
This is like herding cats.
Ask the CHP to bring in the absentee.
And we don't have a sergeant of arms to go look for people.
I recommend that we vote no on everything now. That will bring him back.
I've been accused of being schizophrenic on occasion. Perhaps I could be 2 votes.
That's still not enough. I need 8.
Oh. Well, does anyone have any questions on the information calendar?
Maybe talk about Buy America Small.
We need 8 members for the consent calendar.
Right there. Only need 1, right?
That's 6.
I need 8. 8. No. I don't want to skip.
There's Commissioner Burke.
Too many pages.
I
I
need
still
one
need
more.
a bunch of them for that.
Commissioner Inman, Dunn, and Assimi.
I need
There we go.
one more.
Here comes Commissioner Dunn. All right. Let's go ahead with the consent calendar.
Yes, Commissioners, the next 39 items, 29 through 67, are consent items. There's a few changes I need to make you aware of. Item 35, the dollar amounts have changed. The deprogramming is $604,000, not $554, and the new programming is $554, not $604. Number 38, there is a reversal in numbers. It shouldn't be a negative 20,500. It should be a positive 20,500. 59, there is a correction to the e-resolution and map. We need to pull items 61 and 63 because Commissioner Assimi needs to recuse himself. So those will be coming right back after we do the consent calendar. And then item 68, Resolution C2-1072 has been withdrawn. With these changes, staff recommends that the Commission approve the consent calendar.
I have a motion from Commissioner Tavaloni and a second by Commissioner Dunn for approval of the consent calendar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And Commissioner Assimi wasn't here, so I'm sure we did the whole thing.
Commissioner Inman. So Commissioner Inman, I think it was Commissioner Inman that was under item 61 and 63. So now we need her to disappear for a while while we deal with 61 and 63.
Mr. Chair, I need to recuse myself. My company has property in close proximity to both of these items.
Okay. Only the doors on this side to my left work.
With the Commissioner absent, staff recommends that item 61 and item 63 be approved.
We don't need 8 votes for that.
No, I don't.
Okay. So we have a motion from Commissioner Tavaloni and a second from Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. If someone could grab Commissioner Inman. Okay, moving on to item 82. Stephen?
Okay, item 82, 83, and 84 are directly negotiated leases. The Commission allowed the department back in October of 2012 to directly negotiate these leases. As far as staff can tell, these leases are in the best interest of the state, and staff would recommend that the Commission make the finding that these are in the best interest of the state and approve these leases.
Move it.
And a motion and a second from Commissioner Tavaloni, seconded by Commissioner Alvarado. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
Actually, you were close. It was Guardino making the motion and Tavaloni seconding.
Thank you.
But Alvarado does have a vowel on the end of his name, so we're going to let him into the club.
All the Val guys. Okay, item 85, the third quarter John Chalker Rail Operations Report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Bill Bronte with Caltrans Division of Rail. And as you noted, this is the report for the third quarter covering the period of January through March of this last year. As they have been over the last several months, these have been very good quarterly reports. Going to kind of provide a quick statewide overview. Ridership was essentially flat in comparison to the same quarter last year. We had all of 400 more passengers on a statewide basis. However, the revenues climbed 4.4%. Expenses grew less at 2.9%. Our statewide fare box recovery ratio was at 54.6%, which is up basically 0.8% over last year, and our on-time performance on a statewide basis was 88.5%. Looking at the Pacific Surfliner, this is the second busiest intercity corridor in the country. Again, we saw that ridership has climbed in comparison to last year. We think this is in large part to the growth of the economy because we are actually, in fact, running one less round trip. We think the other item that is improving the performance is our on-time performance. We find that if you can provide good, regular, on-time service, people tend to flock to you when you have this number of trains. And we are seeing the highest on-time performance that we've seen in 8 years. This has been a combination of a lot of the capital projects that were underway, both on the Union Pacific and that done by Metrolink to maintain their particular services. Those are largely done, so we don't have slow orders. And we've also been working extensively with Metrolink and North County Transit to make sure our schedules work really well together, because we do have a limited and constrained capacity in that particular area. Also noting that our revenue climbed almost 8%, so we're very thrilled with that. And our, like I said, our on-time performance on a statewide basis has improved dramatically. Looking at the San Joaquin corridor, this is the one who, for all intents and purposes, shouldn't be doing as well as it is. We have recorded, believe it or not, 14 consecutive quarters of record ridership, 29 consecutive months of record ridership. Our revenues are climbing as well. Expenses are largely under control, and our fare box recovery is improving as well. One thing that is a little bit misleading as you look at this particular report is our on-time performance for the quarter is only 81%. We had 89% in January, 92% in February, and then with the initiation of a tie replacement project all through the Central Valley, on-time performance dropped like 63% in March, was also down in February as well. We think that actually held down our ridership a bit, given that we were out there letting passengers know we are having track work coming up. You may want to consider this because your trains may be running later than you expect. So this also had a tendency to buffer or slow down the ridership growth a little bit, but still at 5.8%. We're just really, really pleased at how well that particular service is doing. That, frankly, at this point in time has become Amtrak's fastest growing corridor in the nation. Moving on to the Capital Corridor, ridership decline is looking at their schedules. They were seeing some excess capacity midday, so they reduced the number of trains they were operating to kind of hold down their costs. This had an impact on their revenue as well. One of the advantages or disadvantages also of e-ticketing, which Amtrak undertook about a year ago, is you get much better counts of your passengers. About half of the riders on the Capital Corridor use multi-ride tickets, and when Amtrak used to estimate the ridership, they applied a formula that said you're going to have so many rides per month. Well, now that they're able to actually do a ticket lift off each of the individual ones, they're finding their original formulas were a little bit optimistic in terms of the number of times a multi-ride ticket rider hops on a train. So we're getting much better information. So I really would not argue or would not say that that is necessarily a negative decline because the revenues are also did not decline as much as the ridership. So I think what we are seeing is much better information coming from Amtrak and Capital Corridor on that particular one. One of the other items as noted there is they are seeing declines midweek in a couple of their stations. We're trying to figure out what's happening. Why is midweek ridership in these particular stations declining when we're seeing continued growth on weekend ridership? There's something there where we just haven't been able to really kind of hone in on yet. And finally, kind of the snapshot look at what we're looking at this upcoming corridor, or quarter I should say, impact nationwide in April, ridership was down all across the board. For Amtrak in general, all of our corridors were down. Nationwide, all the state-supported corridors were down. We're not 100% sure what happened. Part of it we do know is related to how the Easter break fell this year in terms of last year, all of Easter and the break all fell into March. This year it was kind of split, half March, half April, so we don't know. One thing that was really gratifying to note is in May, the San Joaquin Corridor recorded its highest ever monthly ridership. So May is not normally our busiest month, but that was our highest ever ridership. And right now all three corridors are doing really, really well. And so that basically covers the Reader's Digest version of the operating report. Open to any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Burke?
Yeah, as you know, I'm very new to this, but I really feel great about the way the West Coast and how California compares with the Eastern Corridor. They talk a lot about Northeast Corridor and Gateway and everything, and of course they are at the top, but we are right there. We do great. We have great numbers. We're very competitive. But of course, the one thing that I find a real challenge is how we're going to maintain the cross-country, the long distance, to connect with California. And I think that's such a challenge, and I hope that the Congress recognizes that while we may have a great system here and they may have a great system on the East Coast, that it's very important for us to have available for Californians the opportunity to have a good long-distance travel. But congratulations, doing great. I feel really good when I'm there.
We like talking about it, to be very honest with you. We do, with the Commission's support and the funding that they've made available, capital dollars is what really makes the service operate, and over the last 15 years, this Commission has made some very wise investments in the area of rail infrastructure. So thank you very much there.
Any further questions of Bill? You ought to send that Surfliner report to ex-Commissioner Chalker. He'd be pleased to see that.
He's texting you right now.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
All right. Item number 86, third quarter project delivery report. Stephen?
Yes, Commissioners. This is the third quarter delivery report. This would have been reported to you by Jim Davis, the new and improved Carla Sutcliffe, but he had a medical emergency, so he's not here, so I'm going to try to wing it for him. If I could call your attention to page 3 of the report, that's where we have the contracts for delivery. The department planned to deliver 170 projects this fiscal year. They have accomplished so far 91. The 170 projects that have a dollar value of $1.4 billion. So far they've delivered $500 million. So it looks to me like they will have some very big jobs that they have to deliver this month to catch up.
Why the third quarter went down so much? The others were kind of right on.
Well, the remember that they still have the fourth quarter to deliver the third quarter projects, so they're being all, office engineers being jammed up probably. If I could call your attention now to page 14, which is the award status from prior years. All the prior years have all come in at 100%. The second to the prior year, they have 179 out of, they have 260 out of 279 for 93%. Those are the stragglers that are coming in. Next is environmental documents on page 15. The draft environmental documents, they planned on doing 119. So far they have done 71 for 60%. And for final environmental documents, the plan was for 119. They have done 81 so far for 88% delivery. Next we have right-of-way. That's on page 16. And for the 12-13 fiscal year, the plan was to do $227 million worth. So far, through the third quarter, they accomplished $109 million. We will be having a more detailed report on the right-of-way issue on item 88, and then an allocation for the upcoming year under item 89. And if I could call your attention now to page 17, where we have construction contract administration. That's for this year. They planned on doing 199 contracts. So far they've accomplished 127 for 67%. But what's even more telling, if you were to look at the graph on the right-hand side of the page where they give you the overall contracts for delivery in dollar amounts from 2008 and 9 year, you can see that the work effort has been going steadily up. But what's going to be noticeable is that from now on in, the work effort is going to be going down because we don't really have that many new funds. And that concludes the report. Hopefully you don't have any questions, because I probably don't have any answers.
Does anyone have any questions for Stephen, who doesn't have any answers? Okay, moving on to item number 87.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 87 is the Prop 1B quarterly reports. Rachel Falsetti was to do these, but she chickened out, so Greg Wong is going to do it instead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you. Rachel did not chicken out. She's on her way to Washington dealing with MAP 21 stuff, so I thought I'd put a plug in for my boss. Just really quickly for the quarterly reports, the Prop 1B 2012-13 third quarter report, I'm going to focus on a discussion on a couple of programs that you probably haven't had too much of a focus as of late, but with TCIF winding down and SLPP winding down, I thought it would be good to focus on the local bridge seismic retrofit program and the traffic light synchronization program. First to the local bridge seismic retrofit. The $125 million program contains 421 projects. 420 are in have completed pre-strategy, so that's good. Design has been completed on 299 bridges. Construction underway on 163, and 140 bridges have completed retrofit. As you can see, there is still some work to be done on the projects in these programs. The department continues to provide support and work with agencies to deliver these projects. The next program is the traffic light synchronization program. This $250 million program is made up of $150 million for projects in LA and $100 million to agencies other than Los Angeles. The program has 81 projects. 73 have been allocated for a total of $211 million. That $211 million is broken down to $115 million for the City of LA for 15 projects, and $96 million for 58 projects that I would call other. There are 8 projects remaining to be allocated, 7 in the City of LA for 32, and 1 other project for $426,000. The 43 projects have completed construction. So maybe not as much as the local bridge seismic retrofit, but we're making progress in the area of traffic light synchronization program. That concludes the update. I'll try to take any questions that you may have.
Any questions of Greg?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Greg?
Commissioner Gardino.
Thank you, sir. Of the 43 completed projects, how many of those are Los Angeles projects and how many of those are the rest of California?
I know I have that. I do not have that. I will get that to you.
Okay.
You just made Commissioner Gardino's day. He asked you a question you couldn't get.
Actually, quite the opposite, because I was hoping to build on that, and now I'm completely deflated. I'm going to need therapy after this. Perhaps you can just send me
I bet
a-
you it's in here. In
Maybe you can find it before
Yeah.
the end of the meeting. All right. Item number 88. Stephen?
Yes, Commissioners. Item 88 is a report on the 2012-13 right-of-way lump sum allocation. Each year, the Commission allocates funds to the Department for right-of-way acquisition activities in an upfront lump sum that the Department then sub-allocates to individual projects. The allocation is based on program stip and shop projects that the Department anticipates will be in right-of-way acquisition stage. Since right-of-way acquisition is more dependent on having a willing seller than on Department schedules, the Commission allows the Department flexibility to acquire right-of-way as opportunities develop and not necessarily as scheduled. For fiscal year 2012-13, the Commission allocated $227 million for right-of-way activities. The Department reports all $227 million will be spent by the end of the fiscal year. The post-certification, shop, and inverse categories will underspend, and the STIP project category will absorb the difference. Overall, the Department is doing a good job of managing the right-of-way allocation. The post-certification category is going down as more right-of-way acquisitions are happening prior to right-of-way certification. The final closeout report will be provided after the end of the fiscal year accounting period. That concludes the report. And now under item 89, it's a allocation for next year's right-of-way lump sum allocation. Commission staff recommends that the Commission approve $195,104,000 for next year's right-of-way activities.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tavoloni and a second by Commissioner Alvarado. You're a little slow. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 90, Laurel.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 90 is an informational report. This is the quarterly report for the local assistance lump sum allocation for the second quarter of the federal fiscal year. Right now, the sub-allocations per this report are approximately 12% of the amount allocated. Although low, this is very typical of the department or of the agencies and their obligations. They generally are very low in the first half and then increase to 100% by the end of the federal fiscal year. And they just are showing here what they've done, and I think one thing to look at is things like the federal or the Highway Service Patrol is one of those items that gets allocated right away at the beginning of the state fiscal year, and they have done those important things there. So, and that's just an information item.
Okay. Item number 91.
And then item 91 is their request for the lump sum allocation for local assistance of the state funds. And this is a request of $104,063,000 state funds. And in particular, I want to again say that like the Freeway Service Patrol is one of those that gets their sub-allocation almost immediately after the first of the fiscal year, which is why they ask for these state funds at this time. And staff recommends your approval of this allocation.
Move it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Fromer and a second by Commissioner Asimi. All those in favor? Opposed? Item passes. Juan, item 92.
Thank you, Commissioners. Items 92 and 93 are related to the MILE program. Item 92 is an information item and is preliminary close-up report on the 12-13 MILE program. And the department has delivered 86.6% of the $58,197,000 allocated for capital projects. And this is pretty typical of delivery by this time. There'll be some more allocations before the end of the fiscal year. The department will come back at a future meeting after the end of the fiscal year and to report on the final closeout. Any questions on the information item? Otherwise, item 93, it's an action item. It's a request for the 1314 lump sum allocation for the minor program. The department's submitted a list that's will be part of the item to be adopted here, and it's a request to allocate $70,365,000 for fiscal year projects in 1314. Staff recommends your approval.
So moved.
Who made the motion?
I did.
The motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Tavaloni. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 94, Juan.
Thank you. Commissioners, item 94 is an information item. It's an update by the TAMC, by the Transportation Agency for Monterey County, on their operating and maintenance plan, their draft operating and maintenance plan for the extension of the Capital Corridor service into Monterey County. Debbie Hale's here.
Thank you, Juan, Chair Gilmetti, and Commissioners. My name is Debbie Hale, and I'm the Executive Director for the Transportation Agency for Monterey County, and I'm here also with the Managing Director for the Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority, David Kutrowski, and our Project Manager for the rail extension, Christina Watson with TAMC. When I reflect upon our visits to the Transportation Commission, I think about the times that we talked about projects and we're told that they never would happen. The Airport Boulevard project, I distinctly remember a meeting with one of the commissioners saying you're never going to get funding for that project. And now thousands of trucks are using that interchange rebuild daily, and I still get compliments on that. I think about the project you were tired of hearing from me on, which is the interchange at the Red Barn that Fran Inman helped us break ground on. And Lucy, I'm not even going to talk any more about it. I'm just going to invite you to the ribbon cutting. I think about the Prunedale bypass. For decades, people came and lobbied you on that project. And while it's not the bypass, the son of the bypass, the essence of the bypass, is under construction right now. And last week we just closed off 2 left turns of many left turns that we're closing off, where people we're still getting killed in the weeks and months before we close them off because it was so dangerous. So when we think back on all these great highway projects that you all did support and fund in Monterey County, we realized that we needed to start offering alternatives in Monterey County. And we have been working for a long time to bring rail service on the existing rail lines down to Salinas. There's only one train. It's the Coast Starlight. It's an excursion train. It takes a long time. It's a lot of fun, but you're not going to take it to work. And there's actually no scenario under which you would take it to work every day. But we've been working on extending rail service down to Salinas, early morning trains and late afternoon trains. And we have partnered with the Capital Corridor, which is a very successful program and has been doing an excellent job of moving lots and lots of folks that are going to work in addition to other purposes. This February, we signed a Principles of Agreement with them and began working on what you have today, which is the draft operating and maintenance plan. So just to briefly review, the plan will start with service 2 trains starting in Salinas, laying over in Salinas overnight, leaving in the morning, and then coming back in the afternoon. And the capital facilities are being built to expand to up to 6 round trips as demand warrants. The service will not only provide access to jobs, it's the really only financially viable alternative to the 101 corridor because we can't continue to widen it. As I noted earlier, we didn't even do a bypass because it's prohibitively expensive. But folks are also excited about going to education, San Jose State major universities, and of course the A's and the Giants games. We're currently in the environmental phase for the project and have done quite a bit of preliminary engineering design, and we also have acquired some right-of-way parcels in Salinas under hardship allocation. With your action under consent this morning, you made it possible for us to make the capital improvements in Gilroy that will allow the through trains to stop there, because right now through trains can't stop in Gilroy. It's a stub track, which means that they just have to go back up north. And so thank you for that vote. And that vote allows us then to get within $5 million of fully funding what we're calling our Kickstart project, which will allow us to build the necessary improvements to have the trains lay over in Salinas, stop in Salinas, obviously, and then stop in Gilroy, Morgan Hill, Tamian, and San Jose, and continue up along the line. So thank you very much. And we expect to either ask you for that remaining $5 million in capital funds in the STIP or look at our federal formula funds. So we're fully funded on the capital end for that Kickstart. And what the operating plan then shows is that we redid the ridership analysis based on the capital corridors model, the intercity rail model. And the estimate then is the ridership will be 150 passenger trips per year, and it'll bring in an estimated $3.2 million per year in revenue. Now, while my project manager is very chagrined that these numbers seem very low in terms of what we had estimated in the past, because that was commuter-based, and that's just the way the models are different. We believe that these are conservative numbers because they're based on intercity travel and not commuter trips. And so we feel, actually, I feel much more comfortable going forward with conservative numbers, recognizing that we expect to exceed them, rather than coming forward with aggressive numbers that we, may have questions about. Our original number is about 2.5 times larger than this. So we feel 150,000 trips a year is a very conservative estimate. So the total operating costs are estimated at $4.8 million per year at this point in time, with then a net that needs to be covered by the other sources is the $1.6 million per year. These are preliminary. They're based on the Capital Corridor Business Plan, and that's the first time that we've done that. Amtrak is developing more detailed operating and maintenance cost estimates. And with these numbers, we're showing a 66% fare box recovery. So when you compare that to the other intercity rail services in the system, that's actually quite a bit higher. Our goal is to stay consistent with where the capitals have been, which is above 50%. I believe they're at about 54% right now. The project is expecting to use state passenger rail operating funds to cover the net operating and maintenance costs, and that's the case for all the capital operations. So what you got in your packet was a real groundswell of our supporters from Congressman Farr and Senators Cannella and Jim Bell from the Silicon Valley area, Senator Monning, our Assembly members Alejo and Stone, of course the Capitals and our partners at VTA, the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, which has been a supporter of this project for a long time, our local partners in Santa Cruz, Regional Transportation Commission, Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments, Monterey Salinas Transit, who will run connecting bus service, and the cities of Salinas, Gilroy, Watsonville, Marina, and Monterey County. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about this draft operating plan, and we'll continue to keep you apprised as we make refinements.
Thank you, Debbie. Any questions of Debbie? I have a couple, and maybe you can answer, maybe you can't. But we have an ACE train that goes from Stockton to Silicon Valley. Do we know how long that train ride takes? 2 hours? Okay. And then this shows from Salinas up to Silicon Valley in about an hour and a half?
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay. And all these cities that we're going to be servicing, Salinas, Castroville, Pajaro, Gilroy, Morgan Hill, in the light of SB 375, are they developing the proper land use policies around these stations?
We've been spending a lot of time working on that because if we wanted to get federal New Starts funds, that's a key ranking criteria. And we've redirected some of our efforts with regards to not waiting for the feds anymore, but we had been working with them a lot on redevelopment in those corridors, Castroville and Pajaro in particular, but also Salinas, because Salinas is looking quite a bit at how to redevelop in the world after redevelopment.
Those are cities in your county that you can talk to, but how about the cities in Santa Clara County who have growth control limits?
To the extent that I know the stations there, well, I do know that Gilroy is doing a lot around the stations. We've been working most closely with them, and they are, of course, anticipating the arrival of high-speed rail, looking very much forward to, and the station's right in their downtown. I know less about Morgan Hill, although we intend to learn, and I do know that San Jose, of course, is doing a lot around the Diridon station.
Okay.
The chairman is right about the growth control limits in Morgan Hill. It's a lottery system. Fortunately, it's the only community with that. It was a ballot measure about 3 decades ago, but it's the only one along the route. And they tend to like transit-oriented development, though, even though it is a very strict lottery system approach. Debbie, I just wanted to congratulate you and your team for continuing to try to find a way, an alternative to the Highway 101 stretch through Prunedale and another access point into Silicon Valley and beyond. Well done by you and your team.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, moving on to item 95, informational items. Stephen?
Yes, Commissioners. Item 95 is a status report on the TCIF projects. One good thing I can report to you is the San Diego border region has accomplished everything that they needed to accomplish in the program, so they're no longer reporting. There's lots of movements of projects in the Southern California region, and we have all kinds of program amendments and project amendments later on the agenda. Kenneth Coe will address his projects in Northern California, and Patricia Chen will address her projects in Southern California. And at the end, Ann Mayer wants to address the commissioners and tell them about how Southern California has delivered the goods.
Okay, Ken?
Thank you, Commissioners. Stephen. Kenneth Coe with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, here representing the Northern California Trade Corridors Coalition. I'm here to report on our remaining projects. We have 5 unallocated projects. The Tehachapi Trade Corridor project is going to be delivered in October. And we have 1 project that is on the agenda for this month for allocation. That is the SR4 West Crosstown Freeway Extension in Stockton. The remaining 3 projects, 2 of them are facing Buy America issues, which you heard a very engaging discussion on earlier today. And as you know, our project sponsors the Solano for the STA for the Solano 868012 interchange and Alameda County Transportation Commission for Alameda I-880 North reconstruction projects. They were working very closely with the utilities to make sure that those are delivered as soon as possible. The final project is the Richmond Rail Connector. That was slated for this month. Unfortunately, that project did not receive its 401, 404 permits in time. However, they are expecting that to be received at the end of this month, so we are hoping to bring this back to you in August. The Coalition does have some comments, which we'll reserve for item 96, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Ken? Ann?
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and I'm combining the Southern California report for both Patricia and I. Today we have 17 outstanding projects in our corridor. 2 of those projects will be removed from the program today in a subsequent action. We have 3 projects that are not being recommended for allocation today, 2 of those because of Buy America requirements, and 12 more will be, we hope, allocated today a little bit later on. First off, I'd like to thank CTC staff, Caltrans staff, and FHWA staff for the work that they've done over the past few weeks in trying to make sure that as many of these projects as possible were available for allocation today. So I first off would like to thank them for that. With respect to the 2 Buy America projects, we would ask that the Commission consider conditionally allocating these projects today, primarily so that we can continue along the processing of our federal obligations for these 2 projects. If we do not receive conditional allocations today for those projects, we will not be able to obligate the federal funds for the project before the August lockdown for the federal closeout for the fiscal year, which further jeopardizes federal funding for California. So we can talk more about that on those specific projects, but I did want to point out that we would ask your consideration there. I also wanted to point out to you, we distributed a flyer for you, the Southern California Delivers the Goods flyer. We think it's really important, not only throughout California, but most particularly for us in Southern California, to be able to tout the success that we've had with the TCIF program. It's hard to believe that it was just a mere 6 years ago that we were all here debating what kind of projects should be included in the TCIF program, and the Commission ended up adopting a very ambitious and very aggressive program. We're very proud of our successful delivery of this program, but also, and maybe more importantly, is that the benefits that have been realized not only in the system but also within our communities. We have very clear proof that simultaneous improvements of the system and local improvements benefit not only the economy but also our environment. And really what I'm talking about here is the importance of grade separations in our goods movement program. This program and its successful delivery stands as the foundation for our collective efforts going forward as we work to have more of a national emphasis on freight and on the freight impacts within California. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to tout the success of the Southern California, as well as to thank all of you for your collaboration over the past 6 years as we've successfully delivered these projects. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann. Any questions? Any other speakers on this item? Okay, seeing none. Oh, one more. Juan Acosta, excuse me.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Juan Acosta on behalf of BNSF Railway. I think this is the right item. The grade separation projects, or are we off item? I'll just speak to that, and you know, whatever I have to say to that, well, I guess you can bear in mind. We're here today to fully support the grade separation projects, the Crosstown Freeway SR4, the projects in Orange County, Raymond, Lakeview, and State College. Typically, these are projects that we've handled in the past with a letter of intent. When we're down the home stretch, we've reviewed all the engineering, construction, cost estimates. All we have left to do is the processing to get a construction and maintenance agreement signed and to get final approval from Fort Worth, from headquarters, on our portion of the funding. So usually at that juncture, we'll offer a letter of intent where we commit to the project. We commit to a transfer of property rights via the signed C&M agreement. We actually authorize a local agency to certify that they have property rights or will have property rights necessary to undertake the construction if that's something that they need to get funding obligated for the project. And we also reiterate our commitment to our portion of the costs and contribution to the project. And typically that's been the case in past practice over the many, many years of doing grade separation projects. So we're prepared to provide a letter of intent for any of those projects. We're fully in support of them. And if you have any questions to any of those projects, I'll be happy to come back and answer those as well.
Thank you, Juan.
I just want to answer your question. All of those projects have cleared their C&M agreement issues.
Very good. Well, okay, good enough then. I'll say no more.
Good job, Juan.
Very good. Thank you. See how quick we work. We may have invented bureaucracy and exported it to government, but, you know, the pupil has surpassed the master.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item 96, Stephen.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 96 is an item to deal with what's left over after the CIM projects get allocated. TCIF projects are allocated. Right now, there is, I think, about $150 million worth of real savings in the Southern Coalition region and about $4 million of real savings in the Northern Coalition region. Plus, when we're done with this meeting, we're going to have about 6 projects that are not going to get an allocation. What staff is recommending at the August meeting, the Commission approve a new program for how to deal with all of this by basically stating that all projects that have not received an allocation at the June 2013 meeting will be extended without prejudice. What we would be doing is that project sponsors can basically Xerox a copy of their application, submit a new schedule, re-sign the baseline agreement signature sheet, and get a letter of concurrence from the coalitions, and at that point in time, the projects would be, again, eligible for allocations, and then we can start allocations in August if these projects are really truly ready to go in August, or not, they still have a year to deliver and get all of their Buy America issues solved. So this is the basic concept. As far as the real savings of dollars, they can nominate new projects for those monies, and again have a year in which to deliver those projects. We would expect all these projects to get an allocation by June of 2014 and be under construction by December of 2014. So that's the basic construct we want to outline to you. We would be bringing this back for final action at the August meeting.
Any questions of Stephen? Commissioner Inman?
So those projects that are basically almost exactly at the finish line, are they going to be required to do this Xeroxing and everything, or can they just come in and tell us it's all completed in August?
Well, to keep everything even on the same keel, it's best that they Xerox the application and submit their stuff in time for the August meeting. And if they're truly ready and have solved all of our Buy America issues, and we've heard from some people that could take 18 months or many years, we will not be just subjecting them to, you have to get your allocation in August, or otherwise you're just dead and gone. This way they have a whole year to deliver this stuff.
I don't think we want to become part of the issue, though, too. I mean, we had a lengthy discussion this morning about how complicated the Buy America is. So if we have those, I'm told that we have some that are just ready. It's just people have to do what they have to do. So I don't know if we really want to make work for other people. Is that really adding value?
Well, I don't know how much work it is to fire up the old Xerox and send in your application, a letter of support, and a new schedule that outlines when you're going to get this stuff delivered.
Andre?
Commissioner Inman, I appreciate the comment very much, and I think, not to be argumentative with my staff here, but I think if projects are ready for allocation by August, I see no reason why we can't accept that as an action for the Commission. This policy was really intended to be really a long-term look, if you would. We didn't really anticipate this Buy America issue to delay some of these projects, but I believe if the projects are ready by August, we have other issues related to that timing as well, related to STIP projects. I think we will take that together as an option to evaluate those projects and keep them moving. However, for projects that will be having to deal with a schedule beyond August, I think it's only prudent that we make sure that we have another schedule that we can track for accountability purposes. So, sorry, Stephen, but...
Well, it's the Commissioner's choice. The only downside to it is they don't make it in August. What do we do with them?
Right.
Okay, any other questions of Stephen? We have some speakers. Commissioner Arp?
Just so that I'm clear on what Andre is saying, is there some kind of action that needs to be recorded in this meeting by the end of June that makes the August thing a little bit questionable? I totally get the paperwork aspect of it, but I just, what's the risk here? Is there a risk to do what you're suggesting?
No. I think we have more than 4 microphones pushed, so... Okay, there we go.
Wait.
I don't believe there is really an action to be taken on those projects that haven't really met the delivery of today for the allocation of today. All we're saying is essentially that the project is not ready, so we're not acting on it. It can be on the August agenda for action if it is ready, and then you can act on it and allocate the funds. Those that would have to be extended beyond August, then at the August meeting we would be taking that action, hopefully, to note that change.
So everybody needs to be totally square and up front about where they're at. But, okay.
Yes, and really we're talking here, I mean, just to put things in perspective, we're talking about a handful of projects. We're not talking about the whole world here. So it's really, we're hoping that we would have resolution on most of these projects over the next few weeks. That's the hope. And I understand, there's a lot of uncertainty in that, but let's keep hopeful and let's keep pushing so we can move them forward.
Yeah, the exact number is 4 projects.
Right.
Okay, any other questions? Commissioner Burke?
I think my question was answered.
Okay. We have 4 speakers. The first speaker is Darrell Johnson, followed by Ann Mayer.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Darrell Johnson. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Orange County Transportation Authority. Thanks for your consideration of the amended TCIF policy. And to make it quick, I would just like to focus on the discussion that you just had a moment ago. We have 7 grade separation projects in our corridor. One of them that's on your agenda today for allocation is Lakeview Avenue. It will not receive an allocation only because it doesn't have a compliant Buy America agreement. It will not be ready in August because although we've done everything else, all properties acquired, all design is done, construction is ready to go, we don't have that final agreement. It will not be done in August, so we'll submit a new schedule, 12 months, 18 months, 9 months, whatever that ultimately becomes. But I think what's important as you consider your policy is that you have a policy that's flexible and gives some preference to existing TCIF projects that are good projects. The Commission has already said they are good projects, but for the fact of the Buy America discussion, they would be ready to deliver. And I think as you consider how you craft your policy and how you consider those future allocations, that's the critical component that you should be considering. Because we determined they were good projects in the beginning. The whole Southern California Trade Coalition came together, agreed they were good projects, and we've done all the work to get to this final point, which frankly, as you heard earlier, is just an interpretation of a rule or a guideline, isn't even in statute. So with that, I'll close my remarks. I would thank you in advance for your allocation of the State College grade separation, which we expect you to act on shortly. That lines up with what Ms. Mayer said earlier about the projects that will be delivered, and we're looking forward to delivering that project on schedule and on budget. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Arp?
I agree with the substance of what you're saying, but it seems to me also that, those projects really were the product of the regions, right? It was your project, and your region has said, we want your project, and we agreed with them, and we still agree with them. So I don't see the risk. If basically, unless somebody is thinking that you're going to rearrange your priorities in the region and come back later and say, well, we won't support that project anymore. I think if your project is still on track and good, you're going to be there.
I think the concern is, I don't believe that we have any concern within the region. We have a very strong working coalition with the trade corridor folks, with all the 5 counties in Southern California and SCAG and the ports. I think there is no risk there. We just want to ensure that you recognize that the work has been done and we've done everything possible to meet the deadlines as defined by the Commission. We take those very seriously. We understand your role.
We get it.
And we think this is something that we just some flexibility in that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Ann, followed by Ken Cow.
I'll be brief, Commissioners. Darrell covered a lot of what the Southern California Trade Coalition has been talking about. We do want to thank you for the extension of the TCIF program to 2014, because we do believe this provides us with an opportunity to bring new projects forward to be able to spend the savings that we achieved. I think it's really been a remarkable accomplishment across the state that we were able to not only overcome the over-programming of this program, but also to identify additional savings with which we can program additional projects. And we do plan on coming forward with additional projects later on in this program prior to the 2014 deadline. We do agree that the new project should come in with supplemental application material and appreciate the conversation that you just had about making sure that existing projects that are already in the program will be in the program and not be required to go through an extensive reapplication process. So we appreciate that as well. We also appreciate any flexibility that you can consider and grant with respect to our collective problem. We have 3 projects in this corridor that are not being recommended for allocation today. One has a design issue, which I hope will be able to come back in August for an allocation in August, and the other 2 are Buy America. A primary concern for us right now is that if by some chance Buy America issues are resolved in a timely fashion We do not want to lose the $23 million of federal funds that are supposed to be obligated on these two Buy America projects, and we're supposed to have those submitted before August. So we do request either a conditional allocation and or some waiver of process requirements from Caltrans and FHWA, so at least we have a simultaneous obligation of federal funds. Thank you.
Commissioner Inman?
Could staff maybe respond to the conditional allocation recognizing the Buy America challenge?
Well, my response to that would be the Commission does not give conditional allocations. And number two, if they have Buy America issues, they're not going to get a federal authorization either.
Well, but is our scheduling and our timing going to become part of making the problem even larger? So I think we want to be cautious as a body that we're doing absolutely everything we can to be nimble and flexible to not add on to the complication.
Come on back, Vince.
I was just going to say he ran out of the building.
About being nimble and flexible.
Being nimble and flexible. What do we do about the fact that we have some projects with Buy America problems and we're supposed to be obligating federal funds before the lockdown in August? And so what options do we have to preserve our $23 million and not have California lose that obligation money?
I will go with the same commitment that we've had, that we've been talking along. We will exercise all of our flexibilities that we have here in the division office to move through that process. So there's a lot of opportunity, I think, that we have locally that we can do that. I have no flexibility in allowing non-American steel to be put into a project. So that my flexibility does not lie there. My flexibility lies in conditional authorizations, case by case, that type of a thing. But if the question or request is, can I put non-American steel in the ground, my answer to that is no. So I don't have that flexibility there.
Malcolm?
I think the question on the table at this moment is not about Buy America, but the flexibility we have to allocate federal funds if that's the only outstanding issue. And Vince and I are speaking very closely on that matter to ensure the state of California to maximize the flexibility that he has not to lose any federal dollars to the state of California.
Let me ask the question succinctly. Are you recommending that the Commission approve a conditional allocation then for these projects so they can move forward with the federal portion?
I don't know that your allocation is required for him to authorize the funds.
For me, I don't need your allocation. I'm looking... Matt, did you bail on me? There he is. For me, I don't need your allocation. You may have a state process that requires that in your state processes, but I don't need a CPC allocation.
Notice we're all looking at our staff.
Yeah,
we're right?
I wish I was a lot smarter, but I'm taller today.
Ann, are you comfortable with that then?
Commissioners, if I may, there's really two issues here. There's the federal authorization issue, and Vince is willing to work through that. And
look at this. This
look
is
at
beautiful.
him. He's done. And your allocation that we would recommend that you do not make if a project is not ready. And this is really an issue of readiness. That should not really jeopardize the commitment of federal funds if that becomes an issue over the next few weeks before the next commission meeting.
So I can't speak to the readiness. This is all risk. It's a risk evaluation that you do on every project and every decision you make, and that's a decision that that's local here, and I can't say either way whether you're willing to accept that risk. And get in for that one. This is the keeper. This could be the commission Christmas card this year.
Well, I'm going to Photoshop you out, but
But I would say, but I think that's a decision that Caltrans would have to feel like they're willing to take that risk. And
Okay.
It's risk-related.
All right, thank you. Norma, did you want to say something?
Well, I just wanted to say that we don't need an allocation in order to obligate the funds, but they do need to meet the federal requirements. We do have the ability on an exception basis to work up until the very last minute, sometime in September, to get through the process. On an exception basis, I said. And there might be an opportunity, depending on how much other projects we have, that we can potentially exchange some of your funds so you don't lose them, but we'd have to talk about the specifics on that, where we cover it and we'd give it back to you the following year when you needed the funds. Okay?
Commissioners, I think from our perspective, it's really not about what steps we take to get there. The end result is that it was our collective goal to award these projects by December of 2013. We should take every step we can to try and meet that ultimate goal. I don't really care how we get there. If it's a conditional allocation or not, or if it's Caltrans and FHWA agreeing that they're going to keep processing up to the very last minute and we only give up when we know we've lost. And that it not be process and regulations and policies that get in our way, that we do everything we can to deliver the project.
I think everyone's on the same page. Okay, thank you. Malcolm?
Yeah, along those same lines, and I would piggyback what Ann just said. Number one, we need to figure out how to get the federal dollars obligated so we don't lose them. But then number two, we need to get the projects on the street as quick as possible.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Vince.
Am I done?
You're done for now. All right, the next speaker is Ken Cowell, followed by Paul Hubler.
Thank you, Commissioners. Kenneth Cowell, MTC, representing the Northern California Trade Coalition. I just wanted to reiterate what Directors Johnson and Mayer have mentioned about the issues with Buy America, as well as the agreeing with the extension request or process. And I also wanted to reiterate that the Northern California Coalition does support our remaining 3 unallocated projects, and we will be writing a letter to that effect supporting their allocation. Also, we will be providing all the necessary documentation to make sure that those projects remain in the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. I'm Paul Hubler with the Alameda Corridor East Construction Authority, and I'm here today to express our appreciation for the staff proposal for the extended deadlines for the TCIF program and urge your support when this item returns for action in August. We currently have 3 rail roadway grade separations simultaneously under construction using Prop 1B dollars. 2 of them are the construction of the projects is wholly funded with TCIF, and the 3rd project has substantial HRCS, Highway Rail Grade Crossing Safety Account funding on it. Together, those those projects create 9,500 jobs over the multiple years of construction. In anticipation of your Commission approval of the TCIF program extension in August, we have already submitted applications for programming of TCIF for 2 new grade separation projects, which can meet the deadlines that have been proposed by staff. So again, we thank you for your consideration of this item and for your past support, and we look forward to your support in August. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Stephen, item 97.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 97 are TCIF program amendments. Staff recommends that you approve the amendments.
Move it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Fromer, second by Commissioner Assimi. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 98. Stephen?
Yes, Commissioners. Item 98 is an update on the Presidio Parkway funding plan. You have it in the funding plan in your book. And if I would call your attention basically to chart number 4 in the book, it really gets down to the bottom line of all of this. Back in May of 2010, the Commission approved the funding plan, and it's at the very top, across the top of the chart, or the table. Over the years, things have changed and swished around, and if you look at the second to the bottom line, you will see how everything has changed. The biggest change is that there is now a TIFIA short-term milestone payment of $91 million that is arriving. You have a slight increase in the milestone payment from $173 million to $185 million. There's a slight reduction in the risk reserve. Transaction costs have remained the same. And there's a big change in availability payments. As Commissioner Assimi insinuated 2 years ago that the payments would come out to about $22 million a year, he was right on the money. I want to align onto his foresight. I can see if I can use him on the stock market. Anyway, there's a giant savings there. Originally, the Commission approved a 35...
It was simple math on how we run construction projects.
On the back of an envelope.
No. Originally, it was going to be $35 million. Now it's $22 million. So these are the changes to the finding plan, to the financial plan. Staff would recommend that you approve the financial plan as it stands as of June 2012. Now, I understand that the commissioners have some questions on the project itself, and Comey is here ready to answer any and all questions.
Commissioner Fromer?
Comey, just give us a quick, how are we doing?
The state of the project is good.
That's not going to be quick.
The state of the project is good. I think Stephen has stolen my thunder, and there's not a whole lot to report beyond what he said. The project's going well. I think what the update staff report talks about is how we transitioned from the originally approved funding plan to where we are today, and there's a savings of about $221 million total in total payments over a 30-year period. I think that's the bottom line number. But beyond that, I think the better news is that beyond just being cost effective, that we had some innovations along the way, and one of those innovations is the two-tranche TIFIA program that we instituted for the rest of the nation to follow, and I have to thank the Federal Highways for being very flexible in that regard. He was flexible with me. I don't know why he's being so difficult with you guys. But I also want to make sure that I don't fail to recognize our co-sponsor, who is represented today by Anna Lafort. Anna is here in the audience. Oh, there she is. So we're still together as partners on this project, and it's going well.
Okay. Tell me the permitting things that we need to get from the Presidio Trust. Is that on track?
The permits are on track. The permits were always, that was one of the risks that we transferred. We're always a responsibility of the developer. And there was some slow start in building the relationships between the developer and the Presidio Trust, obviously, and we have been working very diligently with them. We've met all of our notices to proceed, including construction, and we have since been approving the release for construction, which is the part of our involvement in going to construction is to release their plans for construction, and we're in the process of approving. I think we have about 9 of them lined up, and easily half of those have been approved and ready to go. But they were having some difficulty getting through the permitting process, and there's a lot of details about how that came about, but glad to report that those are being resolved now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Commissioner
Harp? Actually, that answered my question. I will move that we accept the revised Presidio funding plan.
Second.
Are we covering items 98, 99, and 100 down, or just 98?
No, not yet.
Okay, 98.
We're just doing
I have a motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 99.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 99 and item 100 are the actual allocations for the milestone payment. Staff recommends that the Commission approve those allocations.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Assimi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Item 101.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 101 is a $600,000 allocation for the Resident Engineer Office for the Park Presidio project. Staff recommends that the Commission allocate these funds. I don't want to see the resident engineer sitting in a tent during the cold, foggy winters.
About the cold, foggy summer.
That's a heck of a house for $600,000.
Agreed.
That's for many years, but the department is ready here to answer whatever questions you have on why it's costing.
It's the same building that we use for Phase 1. The lease on that is $125 a year. And so I think it's showing up as a Phase 2 cost right now because we're still in the same building. It's the Creasy Field House.
The building at the end of Mason?
Yes, on Mason, 603 Mason. So that's just the lease for the next 6 years, I think.
So it's $10,000 a month?
I don't know I think it's 125 is what I have for the annual. It's 10,400 square foot building.
You could get a house in the Presidio Heights for that.
$500.
I might do that. You're kidding. I mean, that's the going rate, $10,000 a month?
It's a Presidio Trust going rate, yes. It's where we've been for the last...
They got a heck of a negotiator.
5-6 years, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Commissioner Inman?
So, Comey, before you run away, so is this a line item that we forgot?
Yeah.
Or we had it in Phase 1?
Well, we've had the building in Phase 1. I think it was just assumed that we would be there through construction. So P3 came in midstream on this project. So I don't know that we forgot it. We've always felt like we've always had to pay the bill on the RE building. So now it's an allocation that's due on this particular phase of the project.
So if they give you an eviction notice, you'll still have 90 days.
We'll still have 90 days. Yes.
I'm going to ask. Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Asimi?
Oh, I'm sorry. Please, Mr. Asimi, please.
That houses many engineers. So it's about $1 a square foot in lease.
It houses all of our construction crews, and there's a lot of equipment in there. It's a full complement, RE field office, basically.
Got it. I'll be ready to move for approval unless there's a question. Okay. Move for approval.
Second. Second was where?
Right here.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Asimi, seconded by Commissioner Arp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 102.
Yes, Commissioners, item 102, this is a Proposition 1B, State and Local Partnership Competitive Program Amendment. A note that there is a pink book item for this. This initial programming of this 2012-13 competitive programming was approved in October 2012, and we've had several amendments since then. After the May 2013 amendment, a balance remained to be programmed of $78,000, and now we've identified some project savings of $43,000, so there was a total of $121,000 remaining to be programmed. In addition, there's a project in the City of Lincoln, the Nelson Lane Improvements Project, that is not yet ready to advertise, and I think you've seen some letters from the city. They're saying the right-of-way won't be complete until July. So staff is proposing to delete that project at $600,000, so that would leave then $721,000 available for programming to the projects below the line that have been waiting for funding. And those projects are the Elk Grove-Florin East Stockton intersection project in Elk Grove and the Baseline Green Spot Safety and Bike project in the city of Highland. Staff would recommend your approval, but I do believe there are speakers that you would want to hear first.
We have three speakers. The first speaker is Tom Cosgrove, followed by Ray Leftwich.
Chair Gil, Mitty, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to address this issue. Ray Leftwich, our city engineer, is with me, and he's available for questions regarding the technical issues with this project. My name is Tom Cosgrove. Up until recently, I'd been on the City Council for 18 years and the city's representative with Placer County Transportation Planning Agency. As a result of my background and knowledge of this project, I was asked to speak on behalf of the city as a local resident. The Nelson Lane project is a vital link between the city's airport, the light industrial area at the airport, and the newly opened Highway 65 project, which I think many of you are very familiar with. And by the way, I want to thank you for your years of support. That project is now open, and people are using that and taking great advantage of it, and we appreciate that support very, very much. The connection between the Highway 65 and the airport is a road that's very narrow, very small, and in not very good condition. The funds that are available that we're asking to continue programming will improve that road and be coupled with a bridge replacement project of $950,000 that will provide the road improvements that will create linkage between a state highway and an industrial area, light industrial area, and an airport. The congestion on that road now has risen to 12,000 trips per day shortly after the bypass opened, and it's increasing all the time. But this is also an improvement that will continue the goods movement improvements that are a result of the Highway 65 bypass being built. We don't want the congestion at this location to damage or interfere with the Highway 65 goods movement that was so important with the project being opened. Caltrans, Placer County, the city, and most importantly, the landowners have all been working closely together to process the environmental documents, which are complete, both CEQA and NEPA, and complete the acquisition of the right-of-way for this project. The right-of-way for this project was given early acquisition approval by Caltrans. We began this process in January. We have completed negotiations with 5 of the 8 property owners. We're in the final stage and expect within the next 2 weeks to complete the agreements with the last 2 property owners, and then one issue related to a piece of land that I think the last recognized owner was in 1854. I think perhaps Caltrans would be aware that they had to acquire a piece of that property for the bypass as well. So we expect that to work very well, and that is not necessary until the second phase, the second construction year. This final step, the acquisition of the right-of-way, is imminent and will be completed very shortly. As I mentioned, many of the negotiations are complete. The timing of this project is right-of-way certification will be completed. We should have that within this month or early in July. We'll advertise for construction the end of July, the first part of August. We will award the latter part of August or the first part of September the bid for the construction of that project, and in September we will be breaking ground on the project. That is the timing that we have set, and I'm completely confident, based on our past experience and the work that we've done going through the CEQA, the plans and specifications complete, utility agreements complete, and completing the right-of-way certification within the next couple of weeks, that we will be under construction with this project in September, which means not only improvement in safety, reduced congestion, we will have more people working, and it's a project that is necessary for the economic development for the future, not just of Lincoln, but for the future of Placer County and the state. I'm available for any questions, should you have any.
And one others on this project. Anyone have questions of Tom? The next speaker is on the same subject.
Okay, I'll wait until the speakers have spoken. I'll have a question.
Ray Leftwich?
Ray will defer unless there are questions to a technical end.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'll just defer instead of repeating the comments that Tom's already spoken to. I'll just be happy to answer any questions that the Commission may have.
Commissioner Arp?
Yeah, I'm familiar with this project. I'm familiar with the overall project, the Lincoln Bypass, for sure, and seeing what the City of Lincoln has done to try to make this one move. I mean, it's in the spirit of just trying to see how we can help folks get a good project done. Do we have any capacity anywhere to make this help this thing work?
Well, Commissioners, if you choose to keep this project in the program, we do have an item from the department, and it's under tab 162, but it kind of comes to this this item also, and where the department is saying that they do have funds in the SLPP program. They anticipate some savings in the administrative costs, and so they are saying that if you choose to keep that project in, that there is adequate funds to go to all of the projects, including Elk Grove and Highland. So if you choose to keep them in with their assurance that they can award within 6 months, we can still go to those other projects below the line. We won't leave anybody out.
That would be my recommendation if we could make that happen, Mr. Chair.
Is this project ready to go, or I mean, I hear like it's almost ready to go, but you don't think it's ready to go? Or?
Well, basically, they don't have the right-of-way cert at this point, and so what we normally do not recommend allocation to a project that has not certed their right-of-way. But if you're willing to, go ahead and leave them in with their assurance that they can still award within 6 months, that is up to you.
If you look at the right-of-way list, though, I mean, I have more confidence. I mean, they're like this far away. I have more confidence that they're going to get that done than a lot of other projects we've been tracking over these years.
Well, I will say just, I guess going against what I've said earlier, but I think that I know I'm recommending to remove them because they're not ready, but I will say that this is their last chance. Okay, this is our last meeting for state-local partnership, so that's something to keep in mind. If you kick them out, then they've failed today, but if you leave them in, they might be able to deliver in a month.
Okay, Commissioner Arps made a motion.
Second.
And I have a second by Commissioner Gardino. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. On that one, Rick Carter on City of Elk Grove.
Commissioners, thank you very much.
That was just to cover Nelson Lane, just to be clear.
Yes, actually, and that's up to you. If we have enough funds to actually program the rest of the projects under the line, the two Elk Grove and Highland.
Go ahead. We want to hear your story.
Chair Gometti, members of the Commission, I'm Rick Carter. I'm the Capital Program Manager for the City of Elk Grove. And it sounds like maybe I shouldn't bother to be here now. The only thing I was going to ask was, since we were at the bottom of the list, that if City of Lincoln was included, we still get our full allocation, and we didn't end up as a project that got bumped. Because we have a right-of-way cert ready to go, but it sounds like we're set to be funded.
That was the intent, actually, of my...
Where is it? Lincoln was short right-of-way. Where are you guys?
Oh, we have a right-of-way cert. We're ready to go. We were just at the bottom of the funding list, and I had concern that if they were placed in, that we would lose some of our funding. But it sounded like with that conversation, we're set to be funded.
Right, that was my understanding. I wasn't meant to put Lincoln over anybody. It sounded like we had enough to make them all happen.
Yes, I agree. I think we can revise that item based on your vote to include the two projects below the line.
Commissioner Inman?
I just wanted to clarify, did we take the proper action to accomplish what we all thought we agreed to?
Well, if you like, I can revise my staff recommendation. We can make a different vote.
Well, I want to make it
just to make it clear. Okay. So based on what I have from the department, my staff recommendation would be to keep the existing program as is, and then add Elk Grove and Highland to that.
So moved. I'll make it clear.
Second.
So I had a motion by Commissioner Arp and a second by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Okay,
Thank you.
Item 103.
Okay, Commissioners, item 103 is a state and local partnership amendment for the formula programming. This is an action item to amend existing and to program some new projects in Nevada City and in Orange and San Bernardino counties. These changes are highlighted on the attachment of the book item. Staff recommends your approval of this item.
So moved.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Dunn, second by Commissioner Asimi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. 104.
Yes, Commissioners, item 104 is an action item to do an amendment to the Proposition 1A high-speed passenger train program. This is an action item to add 2 new projects related to the BART extension to Berryessa. These are the Operation Central Control Project and the Maintenance Shop and Yard Improvements Project, both in Santa Clara County. Staff recommends your approval of this item.
Motion.
There we go. I have a motion by Commissioner Gardino, seconded by Commissioner Asimi. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 105, Stephen?
Yes, Commissioners. Item 105 is a report on the prudent reserve policy for the State Route 99 corridor bond program. This is on the agenda at the request of Commissioner Asimi. He had some questions at the last meeting. Rachel was supposed to do this report, but she abandoned the commission, so she left Greg Wong holding the bag here.
Okay, we have 2 speakers on this item. Carlos Yamson.
I think you want to hear from the department first.
Oh, excuse me. Go ahead, Department.
Thank you, Commissioners. At the March meeting, we had a specific analysis of the risks and recommended a reserve of $25 million. It's June. We have $700 million of projects in construction, and we feel that the $25 million is still a comfortable reserve. That ends my update. Be happy to take any questions and hear the speakers.
Well, I have a question for staff. What is the anticipated project savings?
So
in other words, is that $25 million going to grow?
The answer to that question is yes. We're not going to give a specific number, but we do anticipate that there will be savings to fund more projects that are pending and will be ready to go or are ready to go.
Okay.
But we have to open bids before we'll realize what the savings are. But we are anticipating additional savings, so the $25 million available would grow.
The AME is coming up?
AME is, we've already voted that. You've already voted AME. No? Yeah. Okay.
It's awarding next week. It's...
Yeah, they're opening bids next week. It's already been voted, AME.
But you realize the savings, if there's any savings, you'll know next week?
There could be some savings generated from the opening of bids from AME, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? We do have 2 speakers. Carlos Yamson and Councilmember Stephanie Burnside.
Afternoon, Commissioners. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Carlos Yamson, Executive Director for the Stanislaus Council of Governments. I was actually hoping for the sainthood light race to actually fall on me, but I kind of missed it. Sorry. I would just like to actually acknowledge the work of Caltrans. As you know, it's been about a year now, and I've come up before you several times, and we continue to work with the department, both at the district and headquarters level, and we believe that the prudent reserve was something that we had encouraged and supported in the very beginning. I think in light of the discussions on Buy America, I think there's some additional concerns that we in the region and the city have. Small projects, big projects, it's a concern. The project stands ready. One of the main concerns is that we had right-of-way certification on this since June. The project has been ready since June of 2012. Right-of-way cert as well. We believe that we are okay, but you know there's a lot of what-ifs based on the discussion and the context of Buy America. I also have here Council Member Stephanie Burnside from the City of Modesto. And I actually filled out, I'm going to admit, I filled out her speaking card as the council member, but she's also a board member for the StanCog Policy Board, so one of my 16 bosses. Again, I think we will continue to work with the department to fund this project. It's an important project for the region. I believe Councilmember Burnside is going to express some of the concerns of having this project ready in the context of the discussion of Buy America, and probably just like me, going to exploit the generous nature of the Commission today and seeking, you know, any kind of arrangement that we could do to expedite this project reimbursable co-ops. I don't think we're ready to sign on the dollar line for anything other than that, but again, encouraging the Commission's generosity, or generous mood at this point. And if my member doesn't remind you, looking forward to the Commission coming to Modesto. We are actually doing visual assessments of the size of the Commission, so make sure that you're comfortable in the meeting room. I said assessments, I didn't say measurements. Making sure that you'll be comfortable when you come to the meeting.
Just a modesty panel, please. All we need.
And more importantly, based on the festivities of the reception last night for Executive Director Boutros, making sure that we do have the right type of reception when we do show.
Thank you very much.
A quick question, Chairman.
Commissioner Simi.
How short are you? How much of that 25 million?
Yeah, I hope that's not a loaded question.
It's about your height.
I get that from my wife a lot. So, Commissioner, the way I understand it is that the prudent reserve is 25 million, which leaves about 35 million available for allocation. So I think the discussion really is: are we able to get into any kind of reimbursable agreement with the department and anything like that?
So the shortfall is
about 9 million.
9 million.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Burnside, welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Always a pleasure to be before you. Andre, it was a beautiful evening. I was proud to be a part of that Women in Transportation reception for you, so thank you. Yes, Commissioner Dunn, we will make sure that you are taken care of with panelists and men, all of it. Privacy, you got it. Not really sure why I always have to follow Director Yamzan, but just to speak with regards to our Pellendale project, and on behalf of the City of Modesto, it's been fascinating to sit here and listen to you, all of you, speak this afternoon about putting jobs out there, moving dirt, putting several of the counties that have been hit by this economic downturn back to work, and these projects do that. There is $9 million short. We have been working with, or talking with Caltrans and CTC staff to come up with some forward-thinking solution to get this project moving. It has been ready since June of 2012. We have had the right-of-way certificate. Concern hearing today with the Made America is that certificate expiring this month, and whether or not they get grandfathered in and all that good stuff. So we did have a couple of discussions here during the break with regards to that, and looking forward to some answers in writing with what will take place. But I would strongly encourage, beg, whatever I need to do, this commission to make sure that you continue to push staff on both agencies to be forward-thinking, collaborative, and work with us. The City of Modesto is committed to this project. We have displaced businesses, even in this awful economic time. It's ready. It's ready to move. And as we stated earlier, we'd be willing to, sign a reimbursable co-op to at least start things going. So,
Commissioner Simi.
So if you're interested in coming up, so would what you're saying is that you will come up with the 9 million, and as savings become available, you can get reimbursed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think we have to finish that discussion. I think we're in discussion about that exact thing, about reimbursable for the $9 million and the available funds above the reserve, but I think we have to finish that conversation.
I'm just here to encourage the Commissioner to kind of put some pressure on staff to make sure that those talks continue, because they have somewhat fallen to the wayside. And I just don't want this project, I'm excited to have you guys come to our city in October. I'm looking forward to hosting it. However, I know that there's another meeting in between now and then, and if we can get this project allocated, I would be a happy girl. I don't tend to be very patient, so. But
if you don't get the money, we're disinvited?
no. absolutely not.
Okay.
If one thing
I
you'll
just
know
wanted to
about
be
me is
clear.
that I do like to entertain, so that's never a problem.
No, Commissioner, you're invited, but you won't leave.
I'm just going to give everybody a shovel to go out there and start digging the project.
So, but the motion in front of us here is basically to keep the $25 million reserve at this time, and the rest is further discussion.
Right, and I want to applaud you guys with regards to
appreciate
that.
that.
So thank you. I look forward to seeing you guys.
Commissioner, there really is no motion. We just have an action in case you want to take an action.
Okay. All right, moving on to item 106. Laura?
Thank you, Commissioners. Agenda item 106 is an action item. This item is a final EIR for the State Route 197, U.S. Route 199, Safe STAA Access Project in Del Norte County. Please note that there are pink attachments for this item. This project will improve spot locations on routes 197 and 199, including roadway and shoulder widening, curve improvements, and bridge and culvert replacement. The project will bring these routes into compliance with federal and state legislation and regional programs, plans, and policies to allow access for STAA trucks. Staff received correspondence from interested parties as well as an additional attachment from Caltrans regarding the FEIR. This information has been provided to you in the original book item and the pink attachments. Staff has also been made aware that litigation has been filed against the FEIR for this project. However, it is our understanding that a stay or injunction has not been issued at this time. Caltrans, as the CEQA lead agency, prepared and approved the FEIR and determined that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment after mitigation. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the FEIR and approve this project for future consideration of funding.
Okay, we have 7 speakers, I believe, but before we call on those, are there any questions of Laura? I'm going to limit these speakers to 3 minutes apiece, and starting with Elaine Cooper, followed by Kevin Church.
Mr. Chair, I recommend we give them as much time as they want, but they all speak at once.
Get a preview of next year under
Yeah.
Chairman.
Eileen? Eileen, are you here?
I come before you to plead for the heartfelt fears and now very well confirmed documentation of the safety hazards that this project will pose for our community. Caltrans has told us that they have exempted themselves from safety guidelines, and we wanted to know whether that was safe. What was that about? And in the last hours of the EIR, we finally found a really good engineer to do an assessment, and he filed this. And he has an 11-page report that was included in information to you, not in this pink bit, but within your big packet, that took up 13 topics about why this was not safe. And we're not talking about minor exemptions. He outlines that we will have big trucks with 1 foot of clearance, 1 foot of tolerance for mistakes. And where is this? On the most dangerous road that you can imagine. The safety guidelines would allow for 4 times as much leeway for human error in a rainy climate. And we have the river below us, barreling down. We have a hard rock canyon wall. There is nowhere to go with 1 foot margin for error when 4 foot is the standard. This is not taking an exemption. This is throwing the guidelines, throwing the regulations for safety out the window in disregard for what? For commercial access to an area that is California's jewel crown of a river, where we have already had diesel truck spills, where tourists come from all over the world, from Japan, from Germany, every language spoken on that highway, stopping continuously to take pictures, to bicycle. And that's just the tip.
Eileen, can you wrap it up, please? That's 3 minutes.
So the safety guidelines have been thrown out the window. And the other astonishing thing is that when you evaluate the quantity of traffic that comes onto a highway, you look at what's coming from one end of the road, and you look at what's coming from the other end of the road.
Thank you very much.
It's very simple. And we don't know from the environmental document what's coming from I-5, where all the trucks are.
Thank you.
Not a word.
Kevin? And followed by Jerry Hemigerson.
Kevin Church, Caltrans Project Manager for Del Norte County. This is my project. I put in a speaker card mainly so I could answer questions. I don't have that presentation at this time.
Thank you. Jerry?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. The name is Jerry Hemmingson. I'm a Del Norte County Board of Supervisors, District 4. I also am Vice Chair of the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission. I just want to say that, 199 is an extremely important link for goods movement to Del Norte County. It's our only access, basically, to the east, to I-5. And I think it's very important that we keep up with industry standards, which means that we need to be STAA compliant. So I'm very excited about this project. I'd really like to thank Caltrans for the efforts and the work that they've done. They've had to balance the environmental concerns along with the STAA requirements, and I think they did an excellent job with what they had to work with. We've got support from throughout the community, Board of Supervisors, City of Crescent City, Harbor Commissioners, the Chamber, the Tri-Agency. The support is very high in Del Norte County, and I hope that you'll approve this resolution, and we'd like to move on with this project. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Douglas Wakefield, followed by Chris Howard.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Doug Wakefield. I'm also on the Del Norte County Local Transportation Commission. I'm the public member. I'm not in any other political roles. I was a highway striping contractor for 20 years until I had the opportunity to retire. So I'm really familiar with the road. And Ms. Cooper is right. It's a dangerous road. But it's a road that we need. It needs to be fixed. It can be fixed. It takes money. It takes a lot of money. This project is just a good first start, a good first step. And, she talks about all the people that want to come. Well, nobody in a motorhome will come down that road unless they're a very confident driver. So we miss out on a huge tourist base just because they're afraid to drive that road, so they go somewhere else. So anyway, that's all I really had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Chris, followed by Michael Sullivan.
Good evening, Commissioners, and it's almost evening.
I stood before this commission in 2007 with a bunch of passion for a community I have grown to love. I'm a native of Sacramento, but I moved to Del Norte County in 1994 to be a wildlife and fisheries biologist. I grew to love this community as a member of the Chamber of Commerce. My wife is an educator, and I have 2 very young children that are born and raised in Del Norte County. I know what's in this EIR. I know how important it is to this community. But this commission gave us direction in 2007 to move forward with an environmental document, and in 2008 gave us funding for construction of this project. We have done what this commission has asked us to do and stayed on course, stayed on track. It's been a very painstaking process, but we have gotten there. In a climate that is very polarized. But what the commission needs to know today is that what we've been able to do, what Mr. Hemmingson has reflected upon, is that this community has come together for the sole purpose of seeing this project through. And trust me, we've had tough times. We've had tsunamis hit us and wipe us out commercially. We need this highway, not only for the commercial aspects of it, we need it for our own economic development, to make sure that tourists could get here safely, because we are 80% public land, and those redwood trees do not pay taxes. They do not. We need to make sure our tourists can get here safely. And so I thank you today and look forward to your approval of this resolution.
Thank you. All right. The next speaker is Supervisor Michael Sullivan, followed by Tamara Layton.
Thank you. I'll try not to be too redundant on it. And I want to thank the Commission. I was here with Mr. Howard back in 2007, asking the Commission for the funding to begin with. And I appreciate your support. Some of you I'm familiar with, and some of you are familiar with Del Norte County, which, for those of you not, we're the very first county as you come down the coast on the Oregon border. One of the things that, and I appreciate the opportunity to address the Commission, for close to 20 years the community and the region has been hamstrung with not having STAA access. There's parts of the state that don't even know what STAA stands for. That's how antiquated it is. So at this point, we need to become STAA access, just because the only way we get goods into the community is by trucking. We don't have rail. We don't have a barge. We have to truck them in. And connection with the I-5 corridor is our best way to do it. So economically, we need it. So the project is a great project. It's one that will help the community and get a base for it. It also, for us, and I'm sure everyone that is here to testify in favor of the project, we really are more concerned about that next generation. You know, our community right now is one of the poorest in California, number 4, I believe, which it's not something we're trying to make number 1. But we want to make sure we make this a vibrant economy locally, that kids have a chance to come back and work in the community. And if you get a chance to come up there, it's hard to do right now. So we really want to continue to encourage your support of it. As Supervisor Hemmingson mentioned, every elected body within Del Norte County, in the community and the region and across state lines, has supported the project 100%. So it has full community support. It's one of the top priorities in the community to get done. Occasionally you'll hear a few detractors, as you heard at the beginning of the evening. There is not a lot of community support for those folks. They're a very small contingency, and they aren't concerned about the next generation, and they don't rely on the local economy for a paycheck. So, for speaking for the community as a whole, we believe the project should continue to go forward with it, and we would appreciate the Commission's endorsement on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Tamara, followed by Poonam Prasad.
Good afternoon, Chair Gilmetti and Commissioners. It has been since the 2008 STIP since I've talked before the Commission. I'm Tamara Layton. I'm the Executive Director of the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission. And we as a very small rural RTPA have done everything that the CTC staff has suggested that we do to build this road. This road has been a problem in our community. It's a 30-year-old trucking standard. So we're trying to accomplish a 30-year-old trucking standard into our community. We've advanced our 2008 STIP to the maximum extent allowable by law on the state highway system for an operational improvement project. We're doing the right things. Our my local commissioners, you've heard from 4 representatives today, they've maintained this project as their top priority without wavering through 8 years of local elections that have included many changes in local commission membership. As a small rural community, that's a hard thing to do, but it's representative of the universal support that we have for this project. In 2006, we identified this project by a joint resolution, and our full community supported it. It was also supported by every Del Norte Native American tribe, our state senator, our state assembly member, and our U.S. congressman. Our partners at Caltrans have developed the project using a balanced approach that provides a safe project respecting and protecting the natural resources and the beauty of the Smith River Canyon. The resource agencies have been timely and responsive stakeholders, and the environmental document is sound. As a rural RTPA, my commission and I have done everything suggested over the past several years. I've had a consistent message to Mitch Weiss over the past few years, which is we will deliver this project. We've had our heads down. We've been working since 2008, and I really look forward to moving into the construction phase in your August meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. Okay, the final speaker is Poonam Prasad. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Hello, my name is Poonam Prasad. Good afternoon, commissioners. I'm coming here to support the quiet voices of Del Norte that are not here. We're just here to tell you that this is a beautiful area that is surrounded by a lot of beautiful trees and does have a pristine river that we are afraid Caltrans will hurt. So we're hoping that you'll review this very carefully before we damage a very beautiful place in our state. And we're hoping you take the voices that are not here to speak a little bit more seriously. We do think that this is a big concern, that I know agencies are here and they've got their words and they've got their strength, but the people are just waking up to the fact that this is really going to change their region. It's going to change the water that flows through the river. It's going to change the trees that are standing there. And because this place is so beautiful for tourism, there is a fear that the bikers will be hurt by the trucks that come and that it will take away the pristine that still exists here in our state. So please reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Simi.
This is a beautiful area. I've actually ridden my motorcycle several times, but I also do admit that some parts of this road is very unsafe, and I really am reluctant to go back and ride. So I'll be supportive of staff recommendation.
Is that a motion?
It is.
I have a motion by Commissioner Simi and a second by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 107, Mitch.
Commissioners, items 107, 108, and 109 are STIP amendments for action. All of these have action updates, which are yellow or pink in your handouts. Staff recommends approval of these three amendments.
Second. We have one speaker, if he cares to speak. Cliff Finley.
He already got the approval, right?
Got the approval.
Are you opposed?
Yeah. you never want to walk on that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 110 has been withdrawn. 111 is a multi-funded program amendment, STIP and CMIA, to update the schedule and the cost, adding some STIP funds to the I-5 South project in Los Angeles. Staff recommends approval of this amendment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Burke, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 112.
Item 112 is a STIP amendment for notice in Siskiyou County. Upon our review, we're unclear why this action wouldn't be delayed until the 2014 STIP, so we'll take another look at it and see if there's need to bring it forward or if we can delay it until the 2014 STIP.
Okay, 113, Stephen.
Yes, Commissioners. The next 12 items, 113 through 124, are TCIF amendment actions. Staff recommends that you approve all of these book items.
Move it.
Commissioner Arp made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Simi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. 125-1.
Commissioners, this is an action item. The department for $1 million allocation for a shop minor project located in Ventura County. Staff recommends your approval.
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Dunn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 126.
126, Commissioners, is also an action item for our shop projects. There's been a change to this item. Two of the projects, 2 and 3, have been withdrawn by America issues, and therefore the item is a request for 15 shop projects for a total allocation of $108,506,000. Staff recommends your approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Burke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 127-1.
Commissioners, this is also an action item, and it's also for shop projects. This is an advancement of a projects program in the future, and it's a request by the department for $78,293,000 for 7 projects. Staff recommends your approval.
Move it.
A motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Stephen, item 128.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 128 and 129 are design-build project allocations. Staff recommends that you approve the allocations.
So moved.
Second.
Before you go there, Rich has some. Yeah, I mean, go ahead and finish this one.
Finish first. I have a motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mitchell?
There was a question on the STIP amendments 107, 108, and 109, whether there was a vote or just the motion and the second. So if we could make sure to get a vote on those, it would be wonderful.
What's your recommendation?
Staff recommends approval of items 107, 108, and 109.
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fromer, seconded by Commissioner Simi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mitchell, back to you. 130. Come on, keep up.
Laurel told me 130 through 133 together. Staff recommends approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Burke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mitchell, 134.
134 are 30. The item is 33 STIP allocations. One has been pulled, making a total of 32 allocations. Staff recommends approval of the remaining allocations.
We have one speaker. David Wheaton? No need?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Arp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 135, Mitchell?
135 is a request for the advance allocation of 5 locally administered STIP projects. These are projects that are programmed to receive allocations next year. Staff does not recommend approval of these items. We need to look and see where we sit in allocation capacity before we start advancing anything other than the PPM projects.
Do we need to take action on it?
No action is necessary.
Okay, 136, Mitchell.
136, 137, and 138 are STIP allocations. Staff recommends approval of these allocations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Burke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 139, my favorite.
Commissioners, item 139 is a request for allocation in an amount that is more than 120% of the amount originally programmed. This is a project, a structures project on Route 5 in Shasta County. The original programmed amount was $6.1 million, and the requested amount for the allocation is $8.8 million. If you look in the item on page 3, there's a whole list of mistakes that were made. But the bottom line is this is still a project that is needed. It's not going to come back at a lower cost. The department is here to answer questions. Staff will be recommending approval of this item. Should there be questions? Staff recommends approval.
I'll move it.
I have a motion.
Perhaps we might hear from
Well,
staff.
We have had a number of issues over probably the last year that were related to structures that came back in the North District that came back for supplementals. What we talked about with Caltrans is the need to really look at these up front and make sure their estimates are more accurate. This was a project in which there was very little work done on the project initiation document. It was originally going forward as a maintenance project. A number of these have been moved into the shop. What Caltrans headquarters has done is since subsequently started requiring more information, but they've basically a number of the PIDs were not adequate, and they were kicking it back and having the district do a little more information. John here, I think, can provide some information about the project.
Certainly, Chair, Commissioners. John Belinsky, I'm the District Director for Caltrans District 2. Obviously, this is not the way that we want to conduct business. Certainly, some errors were made. We've taken steps to correct those to prevent this from hopefully happening in the future. I can't certainly guarantee 100%. We did look at an option to remove one of the bridges from this project. There's 22 bridges. These are bridge maintenance items. And removal of that one bridge would have reduced the cost of this to within the allocation. However, there's still a need for the project to be completed. So we decided to keep that project in that location in this project. Separating it out would have actually cost additional funding because we'd have two separate projects to administer.
Question?
Commissioner Dunn?
Director, how do we know that your estimates now are correct? Who's doing oversight of your operations?
We've made steps to adjust how those estimates are being completed.
What does that mean?
So that we now have a multidisciplinary team that is doing a quality control check on
Is
our
it within
estimates.
your own department, or is it outside?
It's within our district and within headquarters.
So headquarters is looking at this?
Both of us, yes.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Gardino?
Sir, thank you for coming today and addressing this. What lesson, you mentioned one lesson you've learned, to have a multidisciplinary team look at this. Someone didn't estimate very well. We never want names, but so if someone makes a mistake, it costs taxpayers money and it costs other projects from having funds because it's a finite resource. How has that person or persons been dealt with internally?
Well, we've highlighted the mistakes that person has made. That person is probably watching this event take place today. So hopefully he is learning a lesson as he's sitting here watching
You're
that
supposed
as well.
to say he or she.
What did I say? No, I apologize. Yes, we are addressing that, and I do believe that person is taking this very seriously as well.
Commissioner Arp?
The extent of the repercussions for a mistake of this magnitude then is we're hoping they're watching and feel bad about it?
No, like I mentioned before, that person has been shown that there have been errors made. This person has a career with Caltrans, and he's done, I'll say he, has done a stellar job. He has certainly made a mistake on this project.
So this is an anomaly?
Absolutely.
Having made the resolution, or the motion, the comment I would make, and we've all had to grapple with these as we go along, and I'm not sure that I am clear in my mind what is the best way to deal with it. We clearly need to figure out how to deal with the better performance, but if we don't do it correctly, what ends up happening, I think, is that the project estimators will just bid high. I mean, we'll just estimate, unrealistically high just to cover themselves. And now we've got these big inflated numbers that actually make the project costs go up. And so I don't have a real answer other than the fact that that collectively we should figure out a way to deal with this so that we can get, better estimates as we go along. For the most part, most of these estimates come in pretty good, and once in a while the bad ones really show up and they're big warts, and we kind of go through this. So anyway, that's my comment.
Any other comments?
No.
Commissioner Alvarado? No? John, I don't want to beat you up over this. We chatted briefly at the intermission. But I've been on here for 10 years, and this continues to be a problem every year, and not just with your district, but with Caltrans in general. So I'm not sure if headquarters, Malcolm's not here, if they're getting the message, but we need some better procedures, some better cross-checks. But when I look at the reasons here in mobilization and in asphalt removal, et cetera, I mean, there were some basic things that the district could have done, the department should be doing. And I just hope before this commission starts turning these requests down completely, that headquarters really gets the picture on this thing.
Commissioner?
Commissioner Inman?
I just have a question, John. You mentioned that one alternative was to leave this bridge out. So my question of staff is, how do we protect the integrity of our approvals? Because if we think we're buying 8 bridges and we're only buying 7, that's a different decision. So how do we build in the safeguards so we don't replicate this, but also that we're apples for apples there?
Correct. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Asimi. Not that I heard originally.
It was originally mine. He's thrown me under the bus, but that's okay.
But it
was mine.
I will second his motion.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Asimi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. 1 no. 2 noes.
Do we have enough? 6?
Okay, moving on to item 140.
Commissioners, item 140 is a request for supplemental funds. This is a shop project on Route 99 in Stanislaus County. The request is for $810,000 to complete construction. The issue here is related to hazardous materials. It was originally thought that the footprint of the project would not encroach into where the materials were, and in fact it was going to encroach a couple of feet into it. So that caused some additional studies, testing, and a permit, therefore led to increased costs. Staff recommends approval of this item.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Asimi, seconded by Commissioner Arp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 141.
Yes, Commissioners, we're going to have some fun now. The next 21 items are TCIF allocation requests. I'll try to make this as unpainful as possible, but it's going to be painful. Item 141 is a request for an allocation for the Pioneer Bluff Bridge in the city of West Sacramento. Staff recommends approval.
Who made the motion? Bob? And a motion by Commissioner Alvarado, seconded by Commissioner Burke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 142.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 142 is an allocation request.
Oh, excuse me. I thought this was going to be pulled. I need to recuse myself.
It's not that I know of.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I need to recuse myself. My company has property adjacent.
We're having a staff discussion here.
Well, I wasn't told, but since people now want to pull it, we'll just pull it off the agenda.
Okay,
I don't know.
142 has been pulled. 143, Stephen?
Well, now I'm being told that it's not pulled, so why don't we just go ahead and do it?
Mr. Chair, I recuse myself. My company has property immediately adjacent.
Thank you.
Okay, item 142 is an allocation request for the Washington Boulevard grade crossing in the City of Commerce. Staff recommends that the project not be allocated because it's about 35% complete in its PS&E stage, so it's not ready for an allocation.
So is that an action item, or is it just pulled?
That's an action item to not vote the allocation.
Staff recommendation.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alvarado and a second by
I second it.
Commissioner Arp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Someone could get Commissioner Inman. We'll go to item 143.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 143, 144, 145, 146, and 147 are allocation requests for the Magnolia Avenue, Clay Street, Sunset Avenue, Avenue 52, and Avenue 56 projects. Staff recommends approval.
Staff recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Fromer and a second by Commissioner Dunn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Stephen, 148.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 148 is a request for allocation for the Linwood Road project. Staff recommends that you not allocate this project because of Buy America issues.
Would like a motion?
Well, there's no allocation.
You need a motion, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We need a motion not to allocate.
Correct.
So moved. Staff recommendation.
A motion from Commissioner Fromer and a second by Commissioner Arp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 149.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 149 and 150 are allocation requests for the Laurel Street and the South Milliken project. Staff recommends approval.
Motion by Commissioner Semi, a second by
Move. Second.
Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 151.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 151 is a request for allocation for the Lakeview Avenue project. Staff recommends you not allocate the project because of Buy America issues.
Commissioner Inman.
Commissioner Inman.
I'd like to make a motion to conditionally allocate that.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, but is there some discussion? I'd like to discuss.
Yeah, what do you mean by conditionally, Commissioner?
We didn't condition the others.
Well, though, I was hoping to get clarification. I thought we had an understanding earlier that we weren't going to set these aside. So can we get a little clarification on what the earlier discussion was?
My understanding of earlier discussion was that FHWA is able to authorize these projects without a commission allocation, and at the time when this project is ready for a commission allocation, will come back and get allocated. So there is no need for any conditional allocations.
Yes, Commissioners, you do not need to allocate to this project today.
Yes.
You could allocate to it in August if it's ready then. There's really no risk of federal funding loss at this point because the department is working with the Federal Highway Administration on a process to obligate funds if that really becomes an issue. If the project is ready, and we have to, this is all, hinging on readiness of the project regardless, right? So, but the bottom line is you do not need to take an action to allocate today. You can take an action to defer or not take an action at all. Right.
We need to take any action.
You don't really need to take an action.
I have head shaking and head...
You can defer action until the next meeting.
Stephen, did you want to add something?
I was just going to add, since I think the gentlemen from the FHWA have departed, that they would be very interested in hearing at least that the CTC is on board with whatever we're going to do in terms of allocating or getting federal authorization of a project. They're taking some risk in this, and they would appreciate some sort of sign from the Commission that they're on board with that. I don't know what that needs to be. I don't know if it needs to be a conditional approval or a sign of support or a no action at this time. Certainly in August is not too late. We can take an action in August, and that's within our time frame for obligation.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to defer to August.
Well, I have a motion and a second on the floor. So.
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, and we have a motion by Commissioner Burke to defer. Commissioner Gardino seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
I had a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just confused because it seems in past when we don't move to allocate money, we can defer without a motion on those. We just table it until the next month. So I'm just a little confused.
No, you deferred it. That's the right.
Is it? Okay. Oh.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, 152.
Well, if we're going to be doing this, why don't we go back to 148 and redo that one as a deferral?
I move to reconsider 48 and move to defer 48.
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Commissioner Burke, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. 152.
152 is an allocation request for State College Boulevard in the city of Fullerton. Staff recommends approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. 153, Stephen.
153 is a allocation request for the Richmond Rail Corridor. It has 401 and 404 permit issues. Staff recommends deferral.
Commissioner Burke makes a motion to defer, seconded by Commissioner Simi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 154.
154, 155, 156, 157, and 158 are allocation requests. Staff recommends approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Dunn. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. 159, Stephen.
159, 160, and 161. Staff recommends deferral. The projects of Buy America issues.
Motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Simi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 162.
Mr. Chairman.
Before we go there, do you want to reconsider 142 that you did that had the PS&E issue?
Wait.
He's going to do 142 first. I was out for 142.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Well, it has the same issue as 153, which is permits and designs. So if you want to be consistent with all of them, or
yeah.
So then I would recommend that you reconsider 142.
Defer.
So what we reconsider 142 and defer?
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Gardino, seconded by Commissioner Burke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we're back to 162.
Yes.
There's someone running.
Let's go back to 142 for a moment. I just want to say that.
I'm sorry, but I have two fresh ones, Mr. Chair. I need to recuse myself for item 21 and 22 from 162, as our company has holdings in the immediate proximity.
See, you didn't need to go back to the other.
So do we want to vote these separate, or should we just do the whole 162 without her? We can pull those two items and then do them separately. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Let's vote on those two items.
you want to just vote on those two
Then
items?
she can come back.
That's projects number 21 and 22 under 162. These are SLPP allocations, and staff would recommend your approval of those two.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Burke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, and Fran can come back for the balance of 162. Go ahead.
Okay, well, item 162, separate, not including numbers 21 and 22. These are allocation requests for state and local partnership program dollars. And based on your action earlier on the programming and the fact that the department has told us that funds are available, these allocations include the Elk Grove, Floor, and East Stockton project for $419,000, the Nelson Lane project in Lincoln for $600,000, and the Baseline Green Spot Safety and Bike project in Highland for $393,000. And staff would recommend your approval of this item.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Simi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 163.
Yes, Commissioners, 163, 164, and 165 are also state and local partnership allocations. Staff will recommend your approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fromer, seconded by Commissioner Dunn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 166.
Okay, Commissioners, 166 is a request for a supplemental allocation for a state and local partnership project. This is a project in the city of Highland, and what's happened here is that they received an allocation of $577,000 in March. They had originally requested $1 million for their project. We did not have $1 million available from savings at that time, so we gave them an allocation of $577,000. What the city has done is they have come back and requested additional funds, hoping that there would be additional savings available. And they've requested the $309,000 to sort of try to make whole their project and go back and replace some of the money they had to bring in to fully fund. Now, like I said, they've requested this with the assumption that there would be savings available, and based on the department's letter that says there are monies available, it's ready. We could go forward with this, and staff would recommend your approval of it.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Simi, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 167, Laurel.
All right, 167 and 168 are two more allocation requests for state and local partnership, and staff would recommend your approval of those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 169, 1.
Commissioners, this is an action item. It's a request for an allocation to two STIP transit projects for a total of $290,000. Staff recommends your approval.
Move it.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Simi, seconded by Commissioner Dunn. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. And we've pulled, I think, item 170 off the agenda, so we'll go to item 171, 1.
Commissioners, item 171 is the beginning of the time extensions. And I wanted to note a couple of things on your spreadsheet. One is under item 172, we're recommending that you deny the time extension request for project number 6. It's a project in the city of Woodland. The project timeline is really uncertain, and we talked to them and they understand and they agree. They'll come back in 2014 and reprogram. The other item I wanted to also point out to you, which is not highlighted in the spreadsheet, but it's item 179. And on that project, the city of Los Angeles requested 9 months. The department as well as CTC staff recommend 10 months. I'll give them a little buffer because this is a project that has a lot. They're planting 3,000 trees in the city of LA, and they have a ways to go, and just to give them a little buffer, you make sure that they get through the summer. With that, I also note that there's been a change to item 177. The department has withdrawn project number 2, that's the shop project. With those noted, those highlights and that noted change, staff recommends that you approve time extensions from items 171 through 181 as per the staff recommendations.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Gardino?
Thank you, and Juan, thank you for your work on these. I wanted to just address one of the items, but I'll be voting with your recommendation. On 171, I want to commend you and the Valley Transportation Authority for working together on the extension request on the Capital Corridor Light Rail Extension Project 2. I do want to note, though, as we look at those 20 months and the extension, that where I wanted to commend the Valley Transportation Authority is they've been preparing this where it could be either bus rapid transit, which I think is not only something more fundable, but more cost-effective, while also preparing it simultaneously where it could also be light rail. And my question back to our staff as well as the VTA, as they continue to prepare this for either of those transportation modes, was if they decide to go in the direction of the light rail, where are they going to get the funds to actually build a completed project? And again, I just wanted on record that that will be a concern, because as we allocate funds, even if these are funds at their at their choice of where they allocate the funds, they're still taxpayer dollars, and I like to see completed projects at the end of the day.
These are time extensions. Would you like
Right.
a report back at the next?
Yeah, I'd like
at the next
as
meeting?
we work down that 20-month time extension in this one, the question that will still be in my mind is there a completed project at the end of the day if you determine to go the light rail transit route instead of the bus rapid transit route?
So we can
Yeah,
get a
and
report.
I
at
can
a later
answer,
date.
but I don't want to answer if you're prepared to.
And again, I don't need to put you on the spot today. I just don't want to surprise anyone.
I think he just wants a report at a later date, Juan. Okay?
Definitely provide that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion?
Yes.
I have a motion from Commissioner Simi, second by Commissioner Fromer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Right now we have the forum open for public comments, if anyone would like to come forward and address us. And then I'd like to turn the adjournment over to Commissioner Inman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would request that we adjourn our meeting today in honor of Donna Lee Andrews. Donna was a fixture in terms of transportation in Southern California for a number of years. She served on the California High-Speed Rail Authority for 10 years and actively worked on, I think, almost every key transportation project throughout the state. She participated on the Expo Line, the ACE project, the Gold Line, the East-West Freight Corridor, I-10, I-110 Hot Lane Pricing Project, and many, many others. So I want to close this meeting in respect to the great contribution that Donna made. Thank you all.
Me too. Thank you. Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.